Doing a video today on the Kenworth again. I'm going to talk a little bit about the paint job and why does it have the paint job that it does and how that all come about. You're probably not going to see another one running around with this same paint scheme or anything like that, and I'll tell you why. So here's how it all started. The truck was bought from Kenworth Sales and Service in Omaha, Nebraska back in June of 1980. Actually, the truck's birthday is coming up here pretty quick. It was May 30th is when it went on the assembly line down at the Kenworth factory in Kansas City, Missouri. So anyway, give you a little backstory. Jim Suthout had bought the truck, and Jim had been a owner-operator with Ringsby's refrigerated division since 1959. Ringsby had a paint color then that they wanted their trucks to be painted, to be leased on there. The color was sort of a medium green. Sometimes it would be accompanied by a darker green, but that's what they wanted their owner-operators to have their trucks painted like. A lot of companies were like that back in the day. In my videos, I'll try to back up as much as my stuff with either documentation or pictures. So here's a picture of Jim Suthout back in 1966. One of these trucks is a 1965 Kenworth, and the other is a 1966 Kenworth. And they're wearing that medium green color. Here's another picture of Jim's 1970 Kenworth and his 1971 Tempe 40-foot reefer, again wearing a medium green, almost turquoise color, you might call it. So the truck that Jim had before this one, which I don't have any pictures of, that truck was a solid medium green. And so when it was time for him to order this truck, he told his good friend and longtime Kenworth salesman, Frank Carpenter, I want anything but that medium green color. I'm tired of it. And Ringsby was lightening their, qualifications to have the truck painted the company colors. Most of your companies then in the late 70s were starting to get a little bit more lenient on that. Some did, some didn't. So anyway, so he had seen a guy who had a W900, and it was this real pretty dark walnut brown. It was solid color. Jim said he'd never forget it, and he got the paint number from the guy, and that's what he wanted his new truck to be painted, is that dark walnut brown. So he told Frank about it. Frank said, okay, that's no problem. Do you want it striped, or do you want any paint scheme on it? And he goes, well, anything but that Salem paint scheme. I'm tired of that. I want something different. I want something different. So Frank told him, well, give me a few days. I'll go to work on it. And so Frank, he got to work on it, and he actually came up with the idea to give it a Peterbilt paint scheme. So that's the paint scheme it has. It's from Peterbilt. And the two accent colors ended up being gold and what they call a chestnut. The interior is the gold color, and this material here is called Chicago Rawhide. It's not walnut. The walnut is about 2 shades darker. This is called Chicago Rawhide. And that's how the truck came about having this paint scheme. So it's, though not totally uncommon, but it's kind of rare to see a Kenworth running around with a Peterbilt paint job. Sometimes you see a Peterbilt running around with a Kenworth paint job. It happened. They're both pack car. They're like friendly cousins. So that's how the truck came about to have this paint job and paint scheme. The paint is, like I said, it's been taken care of, and it was always maintained. So I got some rattle cans. I went to the paint shop after I bought the truck, and I got a couple of spray cans of the actual paint color, and I did a little touch up here and there, and then I just gave the truck a really good polishing and buffing and waxing and everything like that, and it surprisingly looks pretty darn good. It I will admit it looks really good about 100 feet away, but it still looks pretty good. It looks fine, and lots of people have told me you should never paint it. You should leave it alone. And if I did ever paint it, it would be exactly back to the way it came from the factory. So that's how it came about. Here's a picture of the truck in the early 90s that I took. I actually took this picture. It was sitting over at the 76 station in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which today is a TA. But years ago, it was the old Dirty Herbies. You can see on the fuel tank the Ringsby logo. A lot of the guys with Ringsby's reefer division put their logos on the fuel tank. Kind of cool, I guess it was just a thing. And when Ringsby totally went out of business, shut their doors, and Jim leased it on to Digby, he just got a sign that said Digby, and he put it right over the Ringsby sign. And that's how he rolled. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention the paint scheme and the paint job and how that all came about and why it looks the way it does. And I think it's pretty cool that it still looks, you know, the paint's still pretty strong. Good testament of American quality. I like doing these videos. I'll try to do a few more. I'll try to be as factual and as, you know, pictures. I got thousands of truck pictures, and I've got a lot of information. I'll try to cover some stuff. I'm being inspired to do it again by Mike Gaffin, the Boston trucker. I think his stuff is phenomenal. It's great stuff. Fantastic stuff. I've sat on the couch on a Sunday night just watching Boston trucker YouTube videos, and he does some great stuff. And I know he and I have had to have crossed paths one time or another back in our trucking days, back when I was running the West Coast and he was running the West Coast. We used to see those Bud Meyer guys all the time, and they were good people, and they were fun to run with and talk to. So I know we've eaten some of the same dirt, as one guy told me one time. And then there's a young guy that works on our dock where I work, and I'm a freight hauler, and so he works on the dock, and he's really into YouTube. And this young man's a good guy. He's a really good guy, and he's really into a lot of technical stuff. And he was telling me about his YouTube thing, and so I told him, I said, yeah, I used to have a YouTube channel. And he was like, really? And he was blown away when he went on his own time and got looking on YouTube. He was blown away at all the old truck nut stuff that's on there. Old semi trucks, trucks of pictures of, you know, videos of trucks starting up, videos of old truck pictures. He's like, Russell, do you know that you got, you know, 22,000 views on this one thing? You got over 100,000 views on this. And I'm like, really? I didn't know, you know? And so he's like, you need to start doing some more stuff. You need to tell some of your stories, and you need to tell some of your jokes and talk about your truck and stuff like that. That would be really cool. So that's why I'm doing it again. I'm just going to have some fun with it and try to share some stuff and make it as honest and factual as I can. Every now and then throw in a joke, maybe every now and then throw in a funny story. I don't know. I guess I've been around this business a long time. I've got quite a few. I'm thinking about maybe doing an interview with my dad. He's 92, started driving a truck in 1948. Totally, he semi-retired in 2002 and totally 100% retired in 2008 when he was 80. So he's got a lot of stories, and they're funny, and I've heard these stories a million times, but I never get tired of hearing them, and we might share one or two of those on here. And I got a few stories. I'll try to keep them PG, but most of them are good and clean. But anyway, we'll try to have some fun. So I appreciate you watching this, and maybe hit subscribe. I guess I'm supposed to say that. I don't know. But anyway, take care and be safe out there.